I apologize.
We showed you at the very beginning, remember our first witness was Sergeant Warner, the man who was the incident commander for the parade. We put up another map. I think it states Exhibit 1. You can have that if you want it. Shows all the positions of all the police officers and the reserve officers, the barricades, the squad cars. How do I know it was intentional? Because even Darrell Brooks told Detective Carpenter, I could tell something was going on downtown. No reasonable person would drive upon this area, see the squads with their red and blues on, see the officers in the street with their bright yellow vests, see all the people milling around, see the floats lining up and the participants getting ready, and not know to drive safely, slowly, and obey officers. The barricades help us prove it was intentional. The police presence help us prove it's intentional. The parade participants help us prove it's intentional. And the parade spectators help us prove it's intentional.
Excuse me, Attorney Alper, your objection, sir?
Speculation as to what the alleged defendant said he saw. It
Sir,
was never.
Your objection's noted, it's overruled. This is closing arguments, not the evidentiary phase. Go ahead,
So
Attorney
how
Alper.
can speculation be made to what was saw? If
Your
that was never
objection's
testified
noted,
to?
it's overruled. Continue, Attorney Alper.
Honking the horn. Quite interesting that Mr. Brooks asked so many witnesses if they heard the horn honking. Some of them said they did at the beginning of the parade. Yeah, I heard a horn honk. Most of them said they didn't. The horn honking cuts both ways, folks. If he's honking his horn, that means he can see something's in front of him. That means he knows there's an object in the road. You can rely on your common experience in your affairs of everyday life. If you see something in the road and you want to alert the other person to your presence, you will honk. But you do not have the green light to then just keep going if they don't move. He knew they were there. Intent. I've skipped one. I'm sorry. Going back to my street number 15, I failed to include the Catholic community. That's just one of the photographs showing the people that will match up to Exhibit 15 from the Catholic community of Waukesha. There's a lot of photographs identifying the people that were marching with that group. The parade started. This is the starting point, or at least near the beginning, right? This is the area. We showed some videos of the groups passing by in this area. We heard testimony from 4 different police officers standing in 4 different spots near here, telling of their 4 different efforts to stop him. Intentional. Sergeant Warner's back here testified that this red SUV blew by me. I waved both arms over my head. I'm in a police uniform. I have an unmarked squad, but I have my red and blues on. And he blew past me. He gets down here to the corner where Detective Casey is standing. Detective Casey runs out into the street, gets close enough to put his hand on the hood of the car. He keeps going. He comes down, turns onto Main Street, gets in this area of East Avenue to the south and Buckley Street to the north. This is where he encounters Officer Schneider and Officer Buttrin. They each make a separate effort to stop him, and he keeps going. 4 police officers. It's intentional. He had plenty of opportunity to just stop. Anywhere along the way, one of the officers testified to it. I think it was Officer Schneider. this was an accident and he mistakenly wandered onto the parade route after passing all this, and he mistakenly wandered onto the parade route, at any point, all he had to do was stop. They could have paused the parade. They could have moved the barricades and escorted him out. He didn't. It was intentional. He went on for 4 blocks. 4 blocks. It was intentional. He reached speeds of approximately 30 miles an hour. That's intentional. He plowed through 68 different people. 68. How can you hit 1 and keep going? How can you hit 2 and keep going? How can you hit 3 and keep going? Didn't faze him a bit. He kept going until he got to the end, and there was no more bodies to hit. It's
Your objection,
intentional.
sir?
Mischaracterization of the evidence.
Noted, overruled.
His conduct when he left the parade route, we'll get into this. His flight, his hiding, his panic, his desperation to run. Get the hell out of town as fast as he could before the cops came. That shows his intent. His interview with Detective Carpenter, we spent several hours playing you snippets of that interview. How telling was that? Never once did he say any of these things. Never once did he say, like he told you in his opening statement, it wasn't an accident, it wasn't intentional. Never said that to Detective Carpenter. No, he came up with some convoluted story about, I got a ride out here from a buddy in a tan Kia, and then I left to go meet Erica, and we got into a fight, and then I went back, and the other guy got into a fight, and he was leaving, so I took off on foot. Absolutely nonsensical story. Does not match up with the known evidence in this case.
Overruled.
He never
I
stopped.
didn't even state the objection.
This is closing argument. She may continue.
I'm going to play this slide, which is a snippet from State's Exhibit number 53. Go ahead and play with sound, please. That was just a snippet that I selected because I thought it really captured the environment that so many witnesses tried to explain to you, right? It's a Christmas parade. People are there with their families, their little kids, their grandkids, their neighbors, their friends, strangers, standing next to strangers. That's what's going on Main Street. While that's going on Main Street, this is going on. Remember this? This is the gas station on the corner of Barstow and North Street. While the units are marching down Main Street, entertaining the crowd, Darrell Brooks is driving recklessly. He's enraged, and he's arguing with Erica Patterson. Why is this important? This is important because before he even gets to the parade route, this is how he's driving. He drives the wrong way down North Street and then acts like it's everybody else's fault in the world.
Your objection is noted. It's overruled. You may continue, Attorney Opper.
When he finally pulls into the gas station, he rolls down his window and yells at the driver who's properly stopped at the stoplight that it's somehow that guy's fault that Darrell Brooks is trying to drive the wrong way down North Street. And from there, the rage continues. We get to this point, State's Exhibit number 3. Please play. The video is playing. You can see the pushing match between Darrell Brooks, Corey Runkle, Erica Patterson, and Nick Kirby. Watch this. He turns to get in the car, flips up his hood, and goes and gets in the passenger seat. I'm sorry, driver's seat.
How long are we gonna mischaracterize testimony?
Sir, it's argument. I've heard nothing improper. Your objection's noted. It's overruled. You may continue, Attorney Opper.
Thank you.
They need to know they can nullify.
That's it. He drives off onto the parade route. From this moment, right here on Exhibit 15, you're watching it. He's enraged. He's angry. Flips up that hood, and he zooms past Sergeant Warner, past Officer Casey, onto the parade route. Now, there's no doubt, for the first 2 blocks, he does not strike anyone. And as we've discussed, some even said he was driving at a reasonable speed initially. By the time he gets past Officer Buttrin and Officer Schneider in this area here of East Avenue, past East Avenue, and clearly once he gets past Barstow, that's where it starts, right? That's where it starts. Nicole White, our first victim, walking with Remax and the hot air balloon. Knocks her over, keeps going, runs up and over the backs of Waukesha South Band, hits the green children spectating on the sidewalk, keeps going, runs over Kelly Grabo and her daughter Adelia walking with Burris Logistics, keeps going, plows through the entire Extreme Dance team just before the 5 points, keeps going, hits Deborah Ramirez and her son Isaac spectating on the south side of the street, keeps going, clears the 5 points area, hits Jane Kulik square on, causing her to go up on the hood of the car, and then fall off and drives over her body. He doesn't stop. He keeps going. Runs through the kids over by the Steaming Cup. We heard the parents testify about little Brinley and Kelsey and Owen that were standing there outside the Steaming Cup. They were struck by the red SUV driven by Darrell Brooks. Keeps going. Plows through the grannies in that zigzag fashion, striking most of them, injuring them, killing them, keeps going, gets down here to the end, and goes through the Catholic community. The witness, remember Holly Berg, she testified about that mobile gas station incident. She said she was standing down here in this area. She said, I saw 15 to 20 people fly in the air. They look like bowling pins.